I don't know.
The meeting link is broken. We're working it out.
Okay, it is 5:30 and I call the planning commission.
Can we
Rutgers
get-
Planning Commission meeting of 8.
5 minutes or so. The technical issue with Zoom, sorry.
No problem.
Does anybody know how to? On setting, we're in settings to go, so this doesn't go
Go
like,
the,
to sleep mode all the
let's see,
time.
I don't know, I can't explain it, but I can
I
probably
can't find
go
it.
there.
Alan's good at that stuff.
I need my computer tech.
Uh,
Okay, purposing the meeting code
Play.
below the link is still correct. So if they use the ID, they.
Mine's
It's probably
battery.
near, yeah. Look, here's battery.
Don't have low power mode on.
Under display and brightness, auto lock.
The auto lock is 15 minutes,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
That's what I have.
You help me with one of these.
Oh, yeah. This one, I would just go.
You'd think it'd be under some kind of power.
Also,
Can you close and open? Oh, hold on. Let's just do this.
Let's go back and see if we can do this device. will come.
iPad. Let's see.
Light and brightness.
Auto lock to never.
Oh, okay.
Try that.
Okay.
Careful.
Change auto lock to never,
Mm.
so it'll be on forever. If it works.
Oh, I have it on 15.
I had mine at 15 too, but it was, like, I literally look at it and then as soon as I set it down, like 30 seconds later, it goes to sleep.
Okay, it does look like we have all the attendees now and the links work. So,
All I need.
Now we're trying to get Mark online.
okay. Those online, bear with us, just having a couple technical issues. Thanks.
Hello, Susan.
Hello. Good to see everyone.
Oh,
Hey, Susan.
Hi,
Are you anywhere interesting?
Denver. Act- Actually, we're going to see Wicked tonight. We have comp tickets.
Fun.
Yeah. I'm psyched.
That looks like California.
Yep, I'm at my place in California.
Good for you.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Fire under control.
it is. We got some cool and humid weather, so it slowed down. But I'm all ready.
Good.
Should it come?
Put my stuff in, I'm trying to.
Sorry. I've
Oh,
never
no
brought-
worries.
I've never brought this iPad.
Okay, I just put mine info in the log on
Alright.
for you.
I won't do anything. It'll embarrass you.
Okay.
Steve.
Hmm?
Checking scores.
Mm-hmm.
We're all set whenever you're ready, Mark.
Okay, we're good. All right, it is 5:35 and I call the Breckenridge Planning Commission meeting of August the 20th to order. Can we get roll call?
All right, Mr. Fruchter,
Here.
Mr. Giller, Mr. Lees,
Here.
Ms. Proper,
Here.
Mr. Guerra,
Here,
Ms. Gort,
Here.
and Miss Ambrose is absent.
Thank you. Planning commissioners, are there any changes to the minutes? Everybody's good? Okay. The minutes will stand as they are approved. Staff, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
No changes tonight.
Okay. Well, I think that the only thing that we have is the
Comment for historic preservation.
right. As part of the certified local government, we're asked to take public comment on historical preservation issues in the community. With that, I'll open up the meeting to any public comment. If you're attending by phone, please press *9 on your phone, then *6 to unmute yourself. Doesn't appear to be anybody in here. Is there anybody online? Okay. Then we will close that portion of the public comment and move on to our only agenda item, which I think is the final for final hearings for Highlands Riverfront Tract E deed restricted condos. 13-545 South State Road, Highway 9, PL 2024-0089.
Good evening, Chair and fellow commissioners. Sarah Crump, Planner 3 for the record. Glad to be back before you again tonight with this final hearing. We reviewed this project at a preliminary hearing on May 21st, and it was proposed as 4 buildings with a total of 44 single bedroom units on this site off of Stan Miller Road, adjacent to Highway 9 and surrounded by the red, white, and blue district station on to the north. And on the south, we have the Breckenridge Building Center. There have been some changes to the project as following comments and suggestions from commissioners during the preliminary hearing, and also to abide by the point analysis and gain some positive points through the development code in order to have a passing score. So tonight, I'm just going to quickly go through those changes and the policies that are affected. And we'll cover the new score as it is recommended tonight. So at the preliminary hearing, the project had a failing score of -11, and that was including -10 points for the building height, which we've had a few discussions about since, and it's all on the record that the Planning Commission in consensus agrees that there should be a work session in the future to discuss building height for workforce housing projects. So that's something that will probably be in front of you sooner rather than later. Also under policy 14R, previously they were getting -2 points on this project for not providing the recommended 5% floor area for interior storage. And they were receiving -3 points under policy 5R for architectural compatibility for not providing any natural accent materials along with the fiber cement siding. And the project was also getting 4 positive points for landscaping. And that was one of the agreed upon consensus items from commissioners at the preliminary hearing, that those 4 points were warranted for this project based on past precedent. some changes that the applicant has made since the preliminary hearing. They've verified that they are meeting the open space requirements for the project, so they are above the required 30% open space, providing 38%. They have provided a new material board updated with some natural materials. We'll discuss that under policy 5. And they have revised their interior storage area so that they are meeting policy 14 and adjusted some of the floor plans and interior spaces slightly. So the overall density changed by just about 1,000 square feet, not a pretty negligible amount. And then they are pledging to be an all-electric development relevant to policy 33R. And then they've made a few adjustments to the site plan that we will cover throughout. Under policy 5R, architectural compatibility, the applicant has provided this new material board, and they're choosing to do some natural wood, fascia, and trim and posts, and that meets the requirement under policy 5R to not get negative points for the majority of the material being fiber cement board. And then the color selections are a natural color palette that meets our requirements under policy 5A. An item that was omitted from the preliminary hearing, but this project does qualify for, is under building height policy 6R. The buildings do each step down on the sides from 3 stories to a full 1 story down to 2 stories. And that qualifies the project for positive 1 points under policy 6R, which was not tallied in the preliminary hearing, but we've included it tonight. And on the site plans, this is the ground floor, and the site plan, the ground floor area has been, and all levels of the floor plan have been adjusted slightly to reconfigure the storage area on the interior of the units and also provide a larger storage closet for each unit in the shared hallway. This expansion of the storage area exceeds the 5% requirement for the building for multi-unit buildings under policy 14R. And so they are now meeting that policy, and the negative 3 points that they were receiving have been removed. Going back to the site plan, they adjusted ever so slightly the location of the dumpster, moving it from this corner. I'm going to change my color here so it's more evident what we're talking about. And they've moved the trash enclosure to a more convenient location in the center of the parking aisle. This will be more convenient for residents living here. They won't have to walk quite as far across the site to use that enclosure. The previous site plan had some parking spaces that didn't meet our setback requirements, which is at least 3 feet. So they've adjusted the parking so that it is moved to the west on this lower southern aisle of parking. And now those spaces are in compliance. So they are now meeting the requirements of 14A and 14R parking. And the project proposes 67 total spaces, which is 1 more than the required 66 for the 44 units. The applicant has proposed an asphalt paved path that will connect this site to across track W to the east and over to the existing rec path that the town maintains. This recreation connection qualifies for positive 3 points under policy 20R recreation facilities. There are several other projects in the past that have also warranted 3 points, and staff feels that this project, what they're providing and the connections to the open space also qualify for 3 points. They did make a few changes to the landscaping under policy 22R. They previously the plan proposed spruce trees on the interior of the unit courtyards. Those trees have been moved out and redistributed into the edge of the development. And so only deciduous or aspen trees will be in the center, and that now meets the defensible space requirements under policy 22. And again, as mentioned previously, in the preliminary hearing, commissioners believed that this project warranted positive 4 points. Some of the biggest changes for this project to gain the positive points needed for a passing score have come under policy 33A and 33R, energy conservation. This will be the first privately developed multi-family workforce housing project to have an all-electric project. The town has done a few projects like this, but this is the first private developer to pursue the positive points under this policy. So quickly to summarize, the changes and the new updated points analysis for the project. The project now has a passing score of +2. It is receiving 1 point under policy 6R for stepping down at the edges of the perimeter buildings, 1 full story. +3 points under 20R for providing that recreation paved connection to the rec path. +4 points under 22R landscaping for the proposed amount of landscape trees, and +4 points under 33R energy conservation for an all-electric project. And then they are still receiving -10 points for building height that exceeds the land use district recommended height by more than 1 story, but less than 1.5 stories. Or sorry, more than 1/2 story, but less than a whole story. So that leaves them with a score of +2. And tonight at the final hearing, staff is recommending that commissioners vote to approve this project. I am happy to take any questions about the revisions and changes that have been presented, and the applicant is here as well. Thank you.
Alan, do you have any questions for the staff?
No, nice, concise wrap up, Sarah. No questions or at this time.
Don't have any questions, just appreciate the changes you made. Thank you.
Ethan, do you have any questions for staff?
No questions. Thank you.
Mike, do you have any questions for Sarah?
Of course.
Mike.
Nice presentation. I note that there's accessible parking in the center, at the north and the south, but it's not clear to me which units are the accessible apartments, and are they in close proximity to the accessible parking spots?
I will let the applicant respond to that question. I think all units on the ground floor will be accessible, but I will let them confirm.
Okay, no further questions?
Do you have any questions for Sarah?
No, thanks, Sarah, for your good presentation. And I'm happy to see that the applicant was able to work around the limit on the height of workforce housing.
Sarah, thanks for the concise wrap up. I have two questions. Specifically, what was the concession on the policy 5R? Do they have wood trim to go with? What was the specific?
So they're providing natural wood fascia trim and wood posts that support the balconies. Under policy 5R, there's not a specific amount of natural material that has to be provided, but staff feels that this is adequate.
And then my last question, what is the ownership of Track W? Does this owner own that, or
Tract W is considered private open space, so it is part of the Highlands Riverfront the property HOA. But it is private open space in that there's an easement across it for access from.
Okay,
the
so
rec- yeah.
then the HOA that owns this particular complex then owns and controls Tract W, is that correct? Okay, thank you. Okay, as this is a public hearing, if there,
I think there was one question Mike had that it's hoping Tom might
Question for the
answer, so
applicant.
maybe Tom wants to speak.
Well, just want to thank you for your time tonight. I thank Sarah for all her hard work on this project. It's been great working with her. She's been right on the ball on this one and appreciate all her comments, and she's covered everything tonight. There's not much for me to add. And I also like to thank Chris and Mark for combining the final with the second preliminary. We had that positive first hearing, and we thought we could kind of parlay some of that momentum into an earlier start for this project, which we're getting close to the end of the building season here by the time we finish the final plans and permit these things. And we still hope to get a foundation in the ground for the first unit, the first building, so we can start to deliver these units next year. So thank you for doing that, guys. Specifically to your question about the handicap access, we will adjust the parking spots to be consistent with the units. I think that's the short answer, but we're going to have to go through a longer answer with the building code and just make sure that we're consistent with the accessible units for the number of units in each building. Most of those, Sarah is correct, most of the lower floor units are accessible at this point, but they're, with just final building plans, we may not be able to meet all the requirements to make all the ground floor units, but we will adjust those parking spaces to make the most sense on the site.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I certainly appreciate your answer, and I just encourage you to make that accessible route as short as possible.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and then obviously accessibility means more than what one can see in a schematic plan, just as you said, in the code itself.
Right.
So, thank you.
Thanks for your time, and look forward to your comments.
I have a question. How many units will be ADA accessible?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that number.
It's
but
5%.
Is it 5%? So there'll be 5% of the total 44, and we'll have to be consistent in each building to have 5% in each of those. But most likely, we'll end up, we may have a number more than that because of just the way the buildings lay out. There's really no reason for us to not make most of those lower floor units accessible. It just makes sense over the long term, and it's incremental in cost.
thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
As this is a public hearing, are there any members of the public who would wish to comment? I don't think there are here. If you are here remotely, you can press *9 and on your phone and *6 to unmute yourself. Do we have any? Nobody is out there. Okay. So we will close the public hearing. Now, at this point, we'll take commissioner comments and answers to questions on the call out page. Do we have any? I don't think we do.
There are no questions.
Okay.
Just whether you approve.
Any commissioner comments? Alan, do you have any comments?
No, I think it's a great looking project. I wish it could be another floor.
Ethan, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Mike?
Nice project, Tom.
Susan?
No comments. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. No comments. Thanks.
And I think this is a great looking project, and I think it'll be a great addition to that piece of real estate down there. So thank you. Do we, at this time, we entertain a motion to approve the proposal and the attached findings and conditions.
Your Chair, I recommend that the Planning Commission approve the Highlands Riverfront Tract E condos PL 2024-0089 located at 13545 Colorado Highway 9. The project having met all absolute policies of the Development Code with a passing point analysis of positive 2 points and the attached findings and conditions.
Thank you. Do I get a second to that fine motion?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Can we take a vote?
Absolutely. Mr. Lees,
Yes.
Ms. Gort,
Yes.
Mr. Fruchter,
Yes.
Mr. Giller. Ms. Ambrose is absent. Ms. Proper,
Yes.
Mr. Guerra.
Yes.
All right, passes 6-0.
Okay, unanimously. Okay. I guess it's time for town council updates if you have any more.
Sure. Wow, we're moving. Hey, before I do that, I wanted everyone to meet our newest planner, Amelia Brackett.
Welcome, Amelia.
Amelia, this is her second week on board and we're excited to have her. She has a great background she brings, including some planning time and working on historic preservation, et cetera, down in Louisville and some other communities. Was it Jeffco? Another one? Yep. So anyway, really excited to have her and you'll be seeing more of her here in the upcoming meetings.
I'm curious, are you from Michigan?
So close. I'm from Illinois, so. They hired me anyway, though. It was a screening question for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, it's great to have a full staff here, good team. So from last week's council meeting, what we had was not a lot of big items, but I brought to them density transfer to Stables Village. So as you recall from our previous discussions, we have to provide, the town provides density to all its workforce housing projects. And there was half a unit of natural density on that 8-acre site. So we transferred and for the first time took density off of FLOT. There's a big pool of like, over 170 units of density on FLOT, something like that. And so we, this action, which was a resolution, did a density sunset covenant on the FLOT that stripped off about 62 units of density to compensate for the density created out there at Stables Village. So, and they're moving forward. They're getting close to CO on the first couple units. So probably seeing that happen here in the next couple weeks. So, pretty exciting there. Then let's see, there was a discussion on, well, we had the BOSAC, Open Space Advisory Commission interviews. We had 9 candidates. So I think one fell out for the day of so the council had their hands full just doing interviews. And they did end up selecting Matt Powers, local realtor here. Matt actually served on the BOSAC previously and then has come back after having several years off. But he's a great addition to the BOSAC, and he was on his first meeting last night. It's helpful from the real estate perspective, understanding values of properties and stuff like that when we're looking at acquisitions. So anyway, we are fully back up to speed there because we had lost staff member Duke Barlow, who was selected to be our new open space and trails manager. So, and he was the chair of the BOSAC. So, let's see, there was a discussion on natural medicine healing centers. And Chris, do you want to just give them a real brief backdrop on that since you've been involved?
Yeah, so I've been working on the natural medicine, like working group within the town with, our assistant town manager, chief of police, and, town clerk. And basically with the vote that legalized natural medicine, which is also known as psychedelic, mushrooms, we're just trying to plan if there should be any additional regulations above the state regulations. And we got some feedback from the town council at the last work session, where really what we can regulate further is time and place. They were generally comfortable with the not having any time parameters because the clinics, in order to be treated, you do have to come in, get counseling sessions, have it administered on site, and then also have a kind of a counseling session before you leave. It's not like a dispensary. It's much more like an outpatient procedure versus a pharmacy, if you will. But based on that, with the council still being concerned, just for the image of Breckenridge and not exactly understanding how this will play out, they still had some concerns over where these clinics should be. And so they requested staff look into creating an overlay district that is the same as the marijuana overlay district. So we're still working on that. There might be some tweaks, but in general, that's the general concept behind the planning for these natural medicine clinics.
Is there a limit to the overall number of clinics?
There isn't, but even without the overlay, there's pretty strict criteria in terms of distances from schools and other childcares, and there's a couple other criteria of 1,000 feet, which is actually 500 feet greater than the marijuana limits. So it really does shrink down the amount of areas that they could be located in. And because of I guess the kind of labor intensive nature of the clinic in terms of the time, it isn't as simple as just having a high volume going in there. We're not even sure that Breckenridge will be a really desirable location just because of the rental rates for properties and such. So there's a lot of unknowns with this, but we've it's been interesting, working with the working group and I guess we'll, see where we go from here. But in the short term, we are planning to regulate the location of the clinics.
You said the location and the hours, but not the hours?
The hours, no, because there's some discussion about that, but because it is an administered product, and I guess the duration that a patient is under the effect is a little bit different for everyone. We didn't want to encourage them to say we have to close and force someone out that maybe isn't finished the process, similar to an outpatient procedure where they might be coming out of anesthesia, where it could be an hour for someone, it could be a couple hours for someone else. So since it is, basically chaperone the experience, I think they were generally comfortable not limiting the hours at this point.
Chris, natural medicine is a much broader term to me than just the psychedelics. So can you provide a little background about that? Who is the natural medication people that are not part of the medical profession, or what are we dealing with there?
So there's a specific state law that was passed by the voters. And so the natural medicine we're talking about, there's a broader umbrella of holistic and other things. This is very narrowly focused at treating with psychedelic medicine. And I think for a reason, maybe the softened image, they chose the term natural medicine in this case, but it's not regulating, let's say, acupuncture or a homeopathic medicine in any way. It's just specifically for natural medicine as defined under the Colorado bill.
So these are the people that are trying to treat depression with psychedelics.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I think, I think that one of the groups that was really behind it was, people that previously had served in the military, and there was a very strong backing for that in trying to treat some post-traumatic stress issues along with depression and anxiety. And so I think that's really what the treatment centers are targeted for, those types of medical conditions.
All right, the major planning item was the Copper Baron Development Agreement. Ellie, would you want to just speak briefly about that? Since you're taking a lead on that?
So the Copper Baron Development Agreement, to convert a unit in, the Copper Baron building, which is part of the Adams Ridge development, went back to town council for a second work session. When it initially went to town council, we received feedback from the council to look at an AMI, rental rate restriction, so average median income, and then a, potential appreciation cap. So after looking at it further internally and discussing with the housing department, we came back to the council with the proposal of a 110% AMI rental rate restriction and no appreciation cap, because we felt the rental rate restriction was sufficient enough to kind of cap how much the property would appreciate over time and just for how much you could potentially rent it for. So after explaining those changes to town council, the council was favorable of moving forward with the development agreement, so it should be going back for first reading at the following council meeting.
Thanks, Ellie. Just one more way we can get deed restricted units in town. Some of that commercial space and office space is just not as valuable as it used to be, and obviously there's a value on residential, but we just don't want to make it market rate units because it'll just
That
end.
was specifically the space where Hogan's architecture.
That's the last one we did was Hogan's. Yeah. Yep. Same concept here. And then just one other thing, the council did discuss New Year's fireworks, not 4th of July. That's off the table. But New Year's obviously has some different parameters in terms of the fire danger is not, prevalent like it is in the summertime. And they have given the go-ahead to work on that for this coming New Year's. The site that they're talking about shooting the fireworks from is, it's up on the ski area. They call it, I think, the Sawmill storage area for ski area equipment. It's basically between Sea Chair and Beaver Run there. And so anyway, that's where they're looking at shooting off the fireworks. They say it's going to have good visibility from downtown. And so, yeah, we may have New Year's fireworks once again. There was some feeling from some of the council members that, people were leaving town on, New Year's Eve to go other places that had other opportunities, whether it's fireworks or other things. So anyway, yeah, so that's going to be happening. And that's pretty much the council update.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, there's no other issues. I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Great.
It is 6:08 and I adjourn the August 20th meeting of the Breckenridge Planning Commission.
Look,